All right, welcome back to, well, the first episode in a very, very long time. My guest broke my hiatus, made it happen. He is, of course, the ever-busy Tyson Andrew.
Andrew. Very good.
Yeah, see, I nailed it.
Thank you for having me, Nevin.
Thank you for pulling me out of my slump. So you wanted to talk to me specifically about your work on this community plan, and I'm completely blanking what you call it, but it has to do with esports. So explain that to me quickly and for our listeners.
Well, for the Center of the Arts, right? So I'm the co-chair of the Community Engagement Committee. So as part of the Center for the Arts, that's the proposal that's coming up that we're going to referendum for in April. My committee is kind of reaching out and talking to different people that have either voiced different expressions, different preferences for what they want to see in the center. But we're also just kind of going out and presenting the business case and talking about what's happening, what's going to be in the center, and kind of doing a feedback gathering mission, if you will.
Gotcha.
Yeah, because there's a lot to still happen with the center, and I think there's a lot of misinformation out there about this whole process and how that's going about.
I'm totally out of touch of it. The last couple of months, I've just been so focused on other things.
Yeah.
Well,
that's why I wanted to meet up.
Second referendum.
That's right.
Some people are not happy about that because they see the dollars and the cents, and so if I understand correctly, it's your position to make sure that the information's out there that, hey, this art center will make money for the town. Is that a fair assumption?
More or less. Yeah. So I'm a director on the board of the society that's putting on this whole program. So I think there's 14 of us, all volunteer, and essentially we're all tackling different entities here. So some people kind of work towards putting the business case together. Others are working on kind of the communication plan, and then there's quite a few of us that are working on reaching out to different people in the community and different groups, neighborhood associations, larger businesses.
Why are you so passionate about making the Performing Arts Center exist?
Yeah, well, I'm a little bit more of a jock than a arts focused person. I do enjoy going to the theater from time to time, but I go maybe once or twice a year at best.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm more so just passionate about making the place that I live as good as it possibly can be. I'm from Revelstoke originally. Been in Kamloops for about 12 years.
You're a hoteler.
I am a hotelier. Yeah, I manage the Sandman Signature down on Lawrence Street. So I am passionate about the downtown, although I live in Aberdeen. I like seeing the development.
Oh, you're better than me. Okay.
I'd prefer to move to the North Shore, to be completely honest with you. Yeah, I'm at Redbeard way too often. Let's just put it that way. Redbeard, Bright Eye.
Shout out Operation Red Nose.
That's right. So I spend a lot of time down here, between here and the downtown. And yeah, I think the North Shore's got a lot going on right now. That's really exciting. I also prefer to walk and bike places as opposed to drive.
Absolutely.
And it's pretty good to do that down here.
That's Mitch's whole manifesto, what he's trying to build, which is wild to see it blossom. You know, if you go back to when there actually was a Redbeard behind the counter at Redbeard.
That's right.
It's he's somewhere on the island now, I think.
Mitch?
No, the other Redbeard.
Oh, the other Redbeard
guy. The original
guy.
Redbeard, the tall guy.
I forget his Nick or something?
Nate.
Nate. It was Nate. I don't know where he is.
I think he's on the island.
That could be the next guy on Cameo.
Oh, yeah.
Track him down.
Catch up with him. Bring him back to Redbeard.
You could do a Where Are They Now segment.
I think that's a very fantastic idea. There's lots of segments I've been meaning to do. It's just time and money, you know what I mean?
Right.
It's the balance of that.
Yeah, so anyways, I would say my passion is largely driven by just trying to make Kamloops as livable as possible. I do a lot of Brewloops is my other big baby, so I'm one of the heads of that with Mitch and a few others. And
I feel wild seeing that grow from being a little parking lot party.
Yeah, 300, 400 people at the parking lot.
Now, taking out the whole downtown area. You had that stage set up.
Yep.
How do you think a performing arts center and Brewloops could work together in the future?
Well, our society's goal right now, and the best way of putting it is that, imagine buying a house. You don't want to start picking out the kitchen cabinets before you've got the mortgage, right? So right now we're really focused on just making sure people are aware of what we're voting for come April 4th.
April 4th.
April 4th, that's the day.
Got it.
And there's a whole process that happens after that, the design process. Essentially, right now, we're going out and gathering feedback, and we're finding out that people, what's going to make it an accessible center for the most people to get the most benefit possible, right? It's not going to be, not every group or individual is going to see themselves in there, and that's okay, right? No building's perfect. So right now, we're really just focused on going out and finding out what is going to be the most benefit to the most individuals. So, when you talk about Brew Loops potentially working in there in some way, shape, or form, yeah, why not, right? There's the theater space. There's going to be some common area space, whether it's, hosting receptions or whatever, but all that will be kind of flushed out when we do that design phase. So, to kind of walk you through, assuming that there is a yes vote that comes out, there's like a year-long design phase. So that's where there's a lot of public consultation, a lot of determining, what's going to make this work for everyone or as many people as possible to enjoy the center.
How many years are we projecting until we actually get to, sit in it?
I think it's fall 2023. So it's a full, 4 years from right now.
Got it.
Right?
It's a long time to, think ahead at two.
That's right.
But you can munch away if you want.
No, I'm good. I'll eat after we talk.
Perfect.
But on the esports thing, right? I know you've been fairly vocal online about.
I'm not even a gamer. It's just the next logical progression for the tournament capital brands to expand into esports. And you got TRU there and computer science. Just I'm more like the business kind of guy, right? Yeah. I can play the games. I suck, but I'd rather do that behind the scenes sort of stuff. It's way more fun.
Yeah, well, I'm a bit of a closet gamer, so that's an announcement of sorts to the listeners there.
Yeah. Closet gamer.
I game from time to time.
Such a bold statement coming
right.
out and saying that you game. Wow, 2019's wild.
That's right. But
yeah, esports.
Esports is a really interesting development, over the last few years. You look up I was looking up some information. There's 40 universities and colleges as of 2017, so there's probably more that have a varsity esports team.
Yeah, Toronto has a massive Call of Duty team.
It's crazy.
Gary Vaynerchuk just launched his own. It's very interesting watching it all flesh out. It's it makes so much sense. But what do you think Kamloops could do right now to better understand the issues at hand, or have more healthy dialogue about moving towards a yes vote on April 4th?
I really encourage. So like I said, my committee is going to be reaching out to every neighborhood association, every service club, Rotaries and Probus, and any group of people that we can get into to go and talk. And so right now it's been me doing a lot of the presentations with some other people, and there's going to be more of us out there doing presentations, but it's a full Q&A session. So we want to encourage people to come and ask their questions, right? Get answers to the concerns that they have about the center and about some of the facts of it, right? Because there's the difference between this proposal and the 2015 proposal is vast, right? There's a dollar difference. There's a tax implication difference that is much more swallowable this time around, for sure. The other difference is that the arts community is fully or mostly behind it. There might be some groups that don't necessarily see themselves in it, but we've been reaching out to them and trying to work with them, and they're going to be a big part of the engagement piece and the design phase when we start looking at how is this going to work for the most people. So I would encourage people to reach out. We've got a website, we've got an email address. Send us notes. That email goes to the whole board, and then kind of gets divvied up around okay, who wants to answer this? Who wants to tackle that? Who wants to meet with this individual to address their concerns? So we're really just trying to educate and listen about the concerns so that we can kind of make the center as best as it's going to be, right? Our society isn't going to be the ultimate operators of the center either. We don't know what that'll look like. So once it gets to yes vote, we'll be there for the design phase and that sort of thing. but it's going to be a different organization that actually runs this building. It'll be a nonprofit society. The business case suggests a kind of a third-arm nonprofit society with city officials being engaged on an oversight board while the city still owns the building. But that in our current society's form, that isn't us at this point.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So it's so right now, for people that are wondering how they see themselves in it, there's so many examples, like, graduations, comedy shows, touring acts, right? We just had like the Moscow or the Russian ballet. They were only able to bring half of what they can do because of the capabilities of the Sagebrush. They've got so much more show to show, but we don't have the facilities to accommodate that.
Do I want to go see the Russian ballet?
Well, it's not necessarily my thing either, Nevin, but some people might. It seemed to be very popular.
Wild people. If you're offended by my statement, please let me know. But what are some of the more wild things you hear people saying they want to see in it? Do you as people obviously want to?
Right. Well, I think when circling back to esports, it's really interesting to look at that. I think one of the big things that we're trying to make sure about this center is that, and we're not calling it a performance arts center because it is more. It's more of a community center than anything else. Is what our vision for.
It's like a community hall, amphitheater. Like, I don't really know how to.
Yeah. Well, it is. The proposed in the business case, and once again, these are somewhat subject to change. But the resounding qualities of this building, and this came out of public consultation in 2015, was that it's going to be 1,200 seat theater, which is kind of for those larger groups, really big shows, traveling acts, that sort of thing, and also large civic events, big graduations, convocations, that sort of thing. Then there's the smaller 450 seat theater, right? And then there's the black box. The black box is kind of where you're going to see those smaller groups be in, like Chimera, Freudian slips. Like, that's kind of what the vision is, that those individuals and those groups would fit into that space because it's fully functional, right? Yep. Flexible space, that sort of thing. Similar to like the Stagecoach idea, right? Yeah.
Just moving along. Yeah. Just figuring it out slowly.
That's right.
Does Kamloops... Like, when you say Kamloops art scene, who are we talking about? Let's flesh out the Kamloops art scene, because I'd imagine a lot of people don't think there really is one, because it sometimes seems invisible.
Well, it's quite extensive, and it's a really exciting scene in my opinion. So we reached out to 72 different arts groups in town. There's all sorts of. I was talking to the Kamloops Arts and Craft Club the other day. Probably the oldest organized arts group in town. 1952 or something is when they started.
Arts and crafts, and like good old summer camp arts and crafts.
It's got 200 people.
That's impressive. I
was shocked. I was like, that's fantastic. I need to know more. They apparently meet across the street from my hotel at the Heritage House, so I'm going to go and present to them probably in January, hopefully.
Make sock puppets.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, they did a lot of pottery. Pottery was kind of the initial driver, and then it kind of expanded into more. But we've been engaging with them. So obviously this center has kind of the major arts group, the larger arts groups in town that are behind it. So the Kamloops Symphony, Western Canada Theatre. Why am I blanking on the last one?
We'll just throw the Blazers in there for good measure.
No, what's that?
The Blazers. We'll just throw
and Western Canada Theatre. Sorry. So they're behind there, and they're reaching out to those smaller groups as they have a little bit more connection with them,
yep,
and trying to see how they best fit into this particular center. So, we named some of them already: Chimera, Freudian Slips. There's all sorts of smaller groups, dance groups as well. So
I'm starting to put together what's
the full picture.
Yeah. I'm starting to understand what you mean by troops or whatever. But you're talking like little 5-man comedy troops, and just little hey, they're just a bunch of friends having a good time.
That's right.
Making art for art's sake.
Yeah. So we did a specific forum for them earlier this month or late last month. We invited all 70 of them out. We had a good attendance of 30 individuals or so that showed up and asked some really good pointed questions. And a lot of their concerns are all about accessibility to the space. So, financial accessibility. Currently we sell tickets at $20 a head, and you're saying, the business case says that it's going to be however many dollars per ticket. That's going to have to be a fee to the building. But once again, the business case, those sorts of elements are subject to change. If it doesn't work for the local arts groups to pay that fee per ticket, then it's obviously going to have to change, and that'll be some of those
that's
things
just
that are
free market capitalism.
100%.
You got to adjust if you're not going to want to exist. So.
Yeah, it's the same thing. If it's a local company that's staying at the hotel, right, their rate may be a little bit different than the big out-of-town companies that are traveling through that need space, right? It's all supply and demand, and there's all sorts of elements there.
There's that shrewd business acumen. I see Nevin. I can jack up his rates.
That's right. Yeah, for whenever there's any podcasts or bloggers coming through, right?
I can bring my dog to your hotel, right?
That's right. Yeah.
See, that was actually the biggest use case, was just have a mini staycation and just be able to bring the dog. Go to the Sharks Club.
That's right.
I won't dry snitch on myself the last time I went to Sharks Club. But anyways.
What was the other? You've mentioned a couple of things online. Esports. What was? Streaming.
Live streaming?
Live streaming.
Yeah, I'm trying to build a live streaming center in my basement. I have a whole basement suite thing. But
yeah, just
streaming essentially is very straightforward, right?
Yeah.
Either you have entertainment value or you don't. I think there would be huge value to having a city, 1 hour live stream, a recap of the week, put on by the city, and you just need to be able to turn on the switch and away you go, kind of like an old school PA system in schools, right? So, having that, accessible to people like myself who might not want to do stuff out of a coffee shop or in their basement or whatever be, right? Try their hand at streaming, kind of more like I don't know. I think entertainment is just such a wild west right now.
Yeah.
That it's just how fast can you get the hours behind your belt of practice and then have a little bit of luck. And if you have a whole community behind you, then if you're the best whatever in the community, rising tide and all that shit, right? So, but that's my weird rant.
Well, I think, when you start talking about streaming live performances and that, there is...
Oh, that part, yes.
There is... I think that's what I had seen you post about that.
I've done multiple streaming things. Okay, yeah, live streaming performance. So, if my taxes or if I'm paying to contribute to this,
right,
to have some sort of intrinsic ability to get value back from the comfort of my own home, would be valuable.
Well, and I think there is some precedent for that in other theaters, right? Just looking it up in other areas, larger theaters that maybe... The theater is a big theater, but the audience is so much bigger, and it's a global audience or a regional audience and that sort of thing. A lot of them do offer those sorts of services, right? Whether it's a streaming fee or some sort of promo code for residents or that sort of thing. There's a few different things like that. But I think that's great feedback for our committee to look at, once again, once we've got the mortgage on the place, once we've got the vote through, you start looking at those sorts of elements and can that be incorporated into the design phase. It's all about fitting those sorts of big ideas and saying, does that work for Kamloops, right? Same thing with introducing esports to that area. Is it to the center? Is the center capable of that? Is there a large enough regional audience here that's of value? But I think all that stuff needs to be flushed out for sure and looked at.
Well, anything can be developed, right? You want to develop the esports community, right? TRU wants to develop their conference hosting, services or whatever it be.
Yeah.
You have to have the facilities do it, because I know there's been some massive conferences that have skipped over Kamloops.
Well, it's funny when I'm going to be meeting with some promoters to talk about some of the groups that they miss out on because we don't have the facilities, right? Sandman Center is too big. Sagebrush is too inadequate or too small. And then there's really nothing else, right? There's no good area for a mid-sized group. Or they're booked. That's the other problem, right?
Yeah.
Sagebrush is booked just constantly between dance and the school district, right? It's a school auditorium.
Okay. I didn't know that.
That's what it's essentially built for, right? Because it's attached to South Cam, right? So But when you start looking at, I now forget the topic that you were mentioning.
Dude, I always forget my topics.
Got off on a rant, a tangent.
Yeah. I don't believe in like holding thoughts for very long.
It's too early. What? We should have met for an after work cameo.
But that's my like hour with my daughter. Yeah,
I understand.
She goes to bed at like.
I understand.
Yeah.
That's
you don't
good.
have kids yet.
No kids.
No kids.
Been married for a while.
For a while, yeah, you have.
Yeah, over 10 years.
Wow, full decade.
Full decade.
Damn.
It's fantastic.
Impressive.
Thank you.
You're very impressive with your whole, jacket and button and the hair and
I'd prefer to be
decade-long marriage.
I'd prefer to be in shorts and a t-shirt. So
no, it is the sunny on shore. That's just like gray out right now.
That's right.
Just miserable looking.
Oh, I remember where we're at now. Thanks for reminding me.
You're welcome.
We're going to be meeting with promoters because a lot of people want to know, okay, so you're saying that there's a need out there for space for different groups to travel. What sort of acts are we missing out on? Like, and, anecdotally, I can't, because of, guest privacy information, I can't tell you the groups that have stayed at the hotel that haven't performed in Kamloops, but I can tell you that they're numerous. International stars, that sort of thing. We're a day off for them, right? And some of it really irks me to the point.
It's like when Rihanna was seen at Walmart.
Yeah. Example.
Yeah. And that's in the news.
Well, because we're between, we're perfectly situated between Vancouver and Calgary, and there are groups that are traveling through, right? So we're going to meet with some promoters, maybe get some ideas around, how many turnaways do you have? How many groups have you turned away because they can't get in, or maybe they even just don't want to. They have an impression that, it's difficult to sell tickets here, right? There's Kamloops always loves talking about the last-minute mentality. I think a lot of cities have that. We experience it with Brew Loops, right? In the last week leading up to Brew Loops, we'll sell 50% of the tickets that we had available, or probably more.
Hype is a funny thing.
Yeah,
like creating hype and demand. When you can get anywhere in Kamloops in 15 minutes, turn around, get home, and you're only 45 minutes deep, and you've done whatever you need. Like, why would you think 8 weeks ahead and buy tickets?
That's a good point. Kamloops is great for that, right? The accessibility and the ease of transportation and getting around. It's fantastic.
It's changing though. Oh yeah, it's changing. It's getting busier.
I was difficult parking outside Mustache and Go. I tried to park in Redbeard and it was all full back there, but lots of street parking on Tronc Hill, so that was good.
Yeah, things are changing on the North Shore.
It's getting busy.
Yeah. It sucks though. Next door, Amazing Inspirations just closed their doors.
Right. Are they moving or are they closed fully?
I think they closed their doors fully.
That's too bad.
Like she's just gonna continue like doing freelance piecework out of her home or something. But like it sucks that style, right? The upcycle style is a very East Coast lifestyle thing, right? Kamloops is not really in that like heritage, antique mindset that the East Coast has. Because like, how did they get antiques out here, right? It's kind of difficult.
Yeah, it is too bad that, not every, even though this area is on the upswing for sure, not every business will thrive, right? So,
that's business. That's the exciting thing about business, anyways, right? Yeah. You never really know, and who knows? Maybe it wasn't for that reason altogether, right? Like, it just sucks because
it was a really cool store.
It was a cool shop.
It was a really cool store, yeah.
Like I remember hiring the previous owner to try and make a sign or something for like some tacky family photo shoot. Yeah,
that's fantastic.
Like like the dog saying like my humans are getting married or something.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Oh, that
sort of like white girl. Kamloops loves that like stage photo shoot thing.
That would have been dozens of likes on Facebook for sure, Nevin. Dozens.
Absolutely. That's all that matters in this world.
Tens of likes.
Tens. What outside of all this community work that you do, and being a closet gamer, what else are you? What other hobbies do you have?
Craft beer has really taken over. What
are your top 3 right now?
I'm I consider myself to be what's wrong with craft beer in a way that I have no loyalty to any particular the type of beer.
Isn't that though like the opus or the purpose, the reason of like having like a niche market is that you never have to be loyal?
Yeah, I suppose. And a lot of breweries will tell you, no, that's great. Like it pushes them to be creative, right? Like they want. Because what
it's
I do,
hype.
yeah,
it's like you haven't had this taste
100%.
before.
It's why Bright Eye's model is actually in a way pretty cool, because essentially they're not going to have any staple beers. I imagine they're going to have to circle back at some point, but when they drain one of those tanks, they're making a different beer to put in there. So I think in the first 5 or 6 weeks they've been through like 17 different kinds.
Oh wow!
So that's why that kind of model really works for a lot of people that are enthusiastic about craft beer, because I don't like trying the same thing over and over again. I say that, but I do like the Red Collar IPA. Like it's a classic, great IPA. You know what you're getting. They don't mess with it. It's fantastic. But like Iron Road, all the breweries have some of those staples that I do quite like. But ultimately, that's why I went to Redbeard all the time, because it's just a rotating tap, right? So
otherwise, you can go and get a pale ale anywhere else. Like
that's right. Yeah. So I am quite enthusiastic about that, and I've got quite a bit of. Brew Loops has opened the doors in that regard to a lot of different friendships that have formed through that. So
through beer,
weed's
next. It's coming.
Yeah. And then when I'm not doing that, I'm trying to take care of my house, but I'm really awful at that.
Oh, I'm terrible at that.
I don't know why we bought a house. Should have got a condo or an apartment.
It's just you and your wife. That's a lot of room.
She really wanted the yard and all that, and we've got got a nice view and everything like that.
Cute.
But I'm the one that takes care of the yard, and I'm not good at it. The previous owner of our house was a retired lady who had wonderful gardening attributes and just had the most beautiful flowers everywhere, and we have since killed them all.
I had my mom come plant me a whole garden, and it was amazing, and then I just let it all completely die. just straight up, like.
That's awesome.
Not my thing.
So our next house will be zero-scaped, hopefully, or something along those lines.
My new front yard's now zero escape, so I don't have to deal with that.
That's wonderful.
It's fantastic.
Yeah. And I'm up in Aberdeen, so I also get, like, winter earlier.
True.
And later. It's awful.
I don't like going up that hill all the time. I used to live up there myself, and it was just like...
Yeah.
Like, it's just like... I don't take care of my car all that great. But let's just say I've gone up and down that hill with a busted radiator, and, like... That's not fun.
No. There are some days that it's difficult to get up there, even with snow tires and all sorts. It's hard on the brakes.
Yeah. I had my brake snap going down the Bachelor Hill once.
Yeah.
Because,
that's what it is. Being from Revelstoke, like, it was great. I used to walk and bike everywhere, right? Like, never had to hop in the vehicle. So I do miss that. We're looking at the North Shore, but just got to find the right spot. So
I want to like, I'm trying to convince the idea that I don't need a car,
How's that going?
Not very well. I want to like create like an electric cargo bike with fat tires, and then I wouldn't have to like.
Yeah, room on the back for a kid or sort of thing? Some sort of carriage.
Yeah, and you could fit like a couple duffel bags worth of stuff too.
Just get like a moped with a sidecar or something. I don't know.
No, it's not my thing. But anyways, Tyson, where should people look up if they want to know or learn more about the Performing Arts Center? No, it's not the Performing Arts Center. What is the name?
The Kamloops Centre for the Arts.
The Kamloops Centre for the Arts.
Kamloops Centre for the Arts.ca, I believe. Might be .com. But either of those.
Google
it. It's easier. We're encouraging people to sign up for membership. It's $2. $2. Just a token amount to show that you actually went through the process.
I think Daniela
Ophie.
Yeah, she reached out to me a while back, and I'm just kind of like,
She's been our membership champion, so to speak. She's fantastic.
I was supposed to DM her this month, but I forgot how to spell her name.
Well, sign up for membership. Even, all that we're asking you to do in that regard is then stay informed, right? We'll send you information. We'll send you a reminder to go out and vote, that sort of thing. It's not about being in favor or not in favor of the proposal. It's just about being informed.
Do you guys have a Facebook group?
Oh, we do have one, Kamloops Centre for the Arts.
I will try and find it.
Great.
All right. Well, thank you, Tyson, for chatting with me and getting me out of my little non-podcasting slump.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for listening on in. If you're new, consider subscribing to Cameo with Nevin Webster on Spotify, because that seems to be the only podcasting platform that matters now. Cheers. Bye.